Alright guys, thank you for joining and welcome to the free training on the sales asset that's going to show you how to become and present yourself as the in-demand authority inside your niche. And we're going to do this using one professional presentation that you can automate in your business to remove yourself and eventually reduce your time completely from sales calls. So this is going to increase your close rate and it's going to decrease your call time. And the reason I know it works is because I've applied it in my own business, which I want to show you very quickly. We scaled PB Academy to over 250 plus active clients in a fitness space where we didn't have a massive following, which is unheard of, pretty much unheard of with what we did. Okay. And we built a team of coaches, a sales system, setters, the whole thing to actually scale this up online. And it was a very profitable business. Now, the other thing we did was we had a physical location gym as well, where we scaled that to over 500 active members in a small local town. So that's been very successful as well. So I've got a lot of experience over the last 10 years. But this is, if I had to pick one thing to tell everyone to do with their own service business if they're looking to scale and grow, this would be the thing. So when I was thinking about it, I was like, I've got to teach more people about this thing because it changed my life. I was stuck in a horrible situation where I was stuck on calls, and I was the salesperson in my business. I built a business to be free, to have freedom, to be profitable and make money, but I ended up being stuck and chained to that business even when we went on holidays and we took the team away to Marbella, Dubai, all around the world, and I was still having to take calls or we didn't make more money. So I'm going to dive straight into it, but that's a bit of proof there. You can check it out on Google reviews. You can check it out, as you can see here, on Trustpilot, verified reviews for the different business. So we've got the academy, we've got the gym, and there's just some examples of people I've worked with as well. A good friend of mine, Josh Thomas, he's an up-and-coming entrepreneur. No doubt you've probably heard of him by now. If you haven't, in the accountancy space, he's a massive name, very successful entrepreneur. We applied that in his business as well, and it worked. It like I said, it increases his close rate, decreased call time, eventually removed him from the business as well. And I've helped other people to scale their own coaching business, as well as obviously coaches within our academy, but these are outside of our academy. I've helped other people do that as well. So yeah, and this is one of our events as well, just proof that we are who we say we are. Over 100 people at our gym, and this was people from our academy that we invited down from all across the UK to come down for our event, and everyone, like I said, had paid over £1,000 to be there. So that's just a bit about me, but let's dive into what this training is about. And it's about the pre-sale system. It's a sales asset for your business. It does two very simple things. It increases your close rate, it reduces your call time. It builds a system so you can start to remove or step back from sales, or eventually reduce your time completely from sales and still make new sales. So if that sounds good to you and you want to build a real business, a valuable business, and you don't want to be chained to the business forever, where if you don't work, then you don't make new sales, you don't get new clients, that's not a business I was excited to run. So I realized that very quickly, and that's when I got to work on trying to do this. So I'm going to show you how it works. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what you need to do, and you will learn that for free today. So like I said, thank you for coming, but I'm really excited to get into this, so I'm going to get into it straight away. Now, first of all, who will this help? Because it doesn't help anyone and everyone, but it does help a very specific type of person. So if you are a coach, consultant, or agency owner, you offer a very good service, this is going to work, right? And what we're going to do is we're simply going to position yourself as the in-demand authority in your niche. Just imagine like you're being a local celebrity, right? Because that's literally what we were able to do with this presentation for myself with our businesses. And the problems you've got right now is probably stuck in sales. You're probably doing long calls, repetitive calls, explain your service over and over again, a lower close rate than possible, and you're even thinking about watching these gurus online about objection handling and trying to become the salesy person you swore you never would become, right? Because you want to get more sales, and at the end of the day, people just aren't getting it. You're speaking to unqualified leads, and yeah, it's just frustrating. What this is going to do is it's going to get you to the point of having time freedom, shorter calls, high close rates, less objections, so you don't have to become that salesy person because they're pre-sold before they get on that call. So no more explaining your offer or service live. Every lead shows up warm, informed, and ready to buy, and your sales calls become shorter, easier, and focused on fit, not endless objection handling. So we help turn your proof, and that's very important. I only want to work with people for this, if you ever want to work with us, to have us build it for you, where you've got good results. You actually are a good service provider, right? That's very important. I don't want to work with people or help people that are trying to sell stuff and not deliver, because I've been hurt like that before, right? So please make sure that if you're going to do this and you're going to use these tactics, you're going to use it for good. So you're just going to use it to educate people, to pre-sell people, and actually deliver on your promises, okay? Because this is very powerful. So we help you turn your proof into demand, so you can get more clients, you can scale faster, you can buy back 10 to 20 hours a week, depending on how many calls you're doing. And if that's you, go watch this pre-sale system training and just keep watching it right now if you're at this point. And it's going to show you how real coaches are becoming the in-demand authority in their niche, okay? Because we started with coaching. You will learn by the end of this video, this is my promise, what you're going to learn today is how to build a sales system and that pre-sells every prospect before they even get on the call. So what exactly is this sales asset so you can tailor it to your target audience and offer, when you should use a powerful sales asset like this so you can easily place it into your customer journey, and why it works so well to educate leads, warm them up and pre-sell them on your packages before the call. You'll have everything you need to turn cold traffic into ready to buy calls so you can reduce or remove your time on calls and focus on actually growing the business. So before we get into that though, I just want to ask you, how did Steve Jobs, someone you probably all know, right? How did he sell the iPhone? And I genuinely want you to think about it. How did he sell the iPhone? And it's one of my favorite things to talk about because I still watch this video for a bit of motivation myself. These are the things that motivate me because I'm so passionate about this stuff. And it gives me goosebumps when I see him do it, to be honest. When he pulls this out here, I don't know, it's just a goosebump moment. And this one as well, when he talks about these three things. So I'll just explain what he's doing here, right? And I want you to still think about what he's doing here and how he sold the iPhone. So in this moment, this was a crazy moment where he made a joke about, what is this little thing in your jeans? What is this little mini pocket used for? And he said, I've always wondered what it was used for, what it was meant for. And now we know. And he introduced the iPod Nano, 1,000 songs in your pocket, right? That really powerful. And then this one was when he introduced the iPhone, and at the time they only had the iPod, they had computers, and they, people had phones as well, and he just spun these applications around on screen and he said the iPod, the iPhone, the phone, the internet, the iPod, the phone, the internet, and he just kept it going until people started to get it without him saying anything. And I'm getting goosebumps talking about it now. So how did he sell the iPhone? Presentations, right? He presented it so well and he sold it to the world. Now every single one of I've got two iPhones here, not bragging, one's work phone, one's just a personal phone, but everyone's got one. People have got them when they shouldn't have them. It's £1,000 plus now. I don't even know what the price is because we all pay on contract, and it's a lot of money. But anyway, he sold the iPhone to the world with one presentation. Apple don't have, thousands of sales calls individually, one-to-one, which is what you feel like you should do or need to do for a service that you're proud of. But he's got people that shouldn't afford it, pay him for it, because he presented it so well, and they still do it every single year. Even though, Steve Jobs doesn't do it anymore because he's passed away, they still release every piece of technology with a presentation because it's so powerful. So this is important because I'm going to teach you how you can use that for your business to just transform the way people see you, because this is how we look up to people, is people that are presenters. So just a quick background on my story and how I discovered this. I know I touched on it at the start, but I started off just passionate about fitness, right? I never planned to become a coach, never planned to go down that. Initially, I actually went down the accountancy route because I thought you needed a real job and I thought you needed a career that's going to make you money. And I thought accountancy was the way. And no doubt it would have been, but it would have taken me maybe 30 to 40 years of climbing the ladder, the corporate ladder, right? So I realized very quickly that was not the path that I wanted to take. I even made the decision that I remember having the conversation with my parents. I said, I'd rather be skint, have no money, be able to do what I love every single day and have a day that I love, which was at the time going to the gym, which is stupid looking back at it, but that's what I chose. And I chased my passion. So that led me along, documenting my journey on social media before it was really mainstream. This was like 2016, 2017, started to get a little bit of traction. And then I thought, people are starting to sell stuff online now. Like all the bigger influencers at the time were selling ebooks and stuff like that. So I started doing that, giving away my advice because people were asking for it. and that led into email coaching. Before it was cool, before all these fancy applications were out, I was email coaching people, getting results, and it all built up from there. We built a gym, as you can see, in 2020, and then we just really scaled our academy after I finished, competitive bodybuilding, and I was like, right, I want to focus on helping more people with what I know rather than just me trying to get as big and strong as possible and competing. I shifted the focus and we scaled our academy up. We had the biggest events across the area, across the country. Literally the biggest events were what we were doing. Biggest prizes, trips away to New York, trips away to Marbella, Dubai, Vegas. Crazy, right? We were just going big, and we were like, we might as well just throw everything at this and see what we can do. That's where I learned this process, and the reason I discovered it was because I was at a point where we scaled the team. We had over 5 coaches at this point, just about 5 coaches. So the set that was booking my calendar up with basically sales calls. Like, I was just full-time sales at that point. I was like, this is not sustainable. So the way I was able to buy back my time was to introduce what we're going to talk about today. And it changed my life, it changed my business, and we were able to scale much further. So just to be clear, I didn't start as an expert. Like you said, I quit my accountancy job when I was 18. I went into this full-time to just chase my dream, not to think I was going to do it for the money at all. It was literally for passion. I wanted to spend 3 hours in the gym, and I just wanted to be able to talk about whatever I wanted to talk about online, and I didn't want to be controlled by my job. So that was my reason at the time. But like I said, I didn't learn this stuff. If you want to go back and watch my videos, I documented it on YouTube when I wasn't confident. You can see the videos 10 years ago, and my conversation skills now I'd like to think of as improved. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong, but we all don't start out as these big confident presenters trying to present ourselves as the in-demand authority, but that is what you need to become if you want to charge premium prices and become the number one person in your industry. Okay, why did I then start Social Proof? Right, trust is at an all-time low on the internet because people are, like I said at the start, over-promising, under-delivering. I've been hurt by it. You've probably been hurt by it. You don't trust people online anymore. Now, I want to fight back against that. And the reason I started Social Proof, first of all, was because I first had the idea of, if I can create a proof page, which is what we built with our application, our software, where people can just upload all their results and proof and testimonials. And I wanted to build a way to verify that. I'm still working on that right now. That is something different. It's very difficult to do, right? But I wanted it to be like the Trustpilot of service-based industries. Reason being is because I want people to trust people online, especially the good people, because it tends to be the good people that provide great services don't get seen, and then the great marketers and scammers and advertisers get seen, get paid, and then deliver crap results, right? Poor services, and they don't care because they're making money. So I wanted to fight back, and I wanted to help people fight back by learning marketing in an easy way. And this is the first thing. I thought this is something we know has proven in other businesses, not just my own. So we can start with this, and we can start to help people do this for themselves, the people that actually provide great results. This is the fight back. This is the difference between people saying, I'll think about it and I need to work with you. It's trust, right? Trust is the biggest thing that we need to inject into these customers, the customer journey. I want to help the great services that deliver on promises and get results, and I want to fight against the scam artists, the great marketers, but they poor service delivery. They overpromise and they underdeliver, and they're the ones in the rented Lamborghinis that you see there, and living the high life in Dubai, when secretly living in someone's basement. What is the 5-year vision? Okay, you need to ask yourself this first of all before you go forward. The CEO mentality is removed from the day-to-day operations. New sales is not reliant on the founder taking calls. Time is the most valuable asset, fully focused on leading their company towards growth and living the life you visioned. Your risk of starting a business finally paid off, providing you financial and location freedom, which is what you want. If you're risking starting a business, you need that, and you need that mentality. The self-employed mentality is a problem, right? It becomes a problem. It's all good when you're fine, you're well, you're healthy, and you're happy with what you're doing. But I learned the hard way that when things aren't going well, when things aren't perfect and perfect conditions, you're stuck in the day-to-day operations. New sales are still reliant on you taking calls and selling leads, and your time is split between running the business and being a salesperson for your business. You have financial and location freedom on paper, but you are trapped in the day-to-day. And listen, let me just tell you this. When I was away and I took the team away to Marbella, paid for everyone to go away because I wanted us to have a bit of bonding and a bit of a good time out there, I was the one still working. I was the one that still had to take calls or we wouldn't make any new money. And it was at that point I realized this is not good. This needs to change. I need to figure out a system for this as well. Otherwise, I'm going to be trapped forever. So if you don't work, your business doesn't survive or grow. And that's the situation I was in. And now I'm free. So you're going to learn how to unstuck yourself as well. What do your favorite influencers, business owners, and inspirations have in common? All of them, right? So just walk through this while you think about that. And this is important, right? I'm not going to waste your time at all. Everything here is important. So Alex Hormozi, right? Look what he's doing right there. Donald Trump, politics aside, whether you love him or hate him, that moment right there is a powerful moment. Tony Robbins, with all the people behind him right there, what's he doing? The way he's commanding the room, right? I'm not giving away the secrets as well. Joe Rogan, think about what they all have in common. Elon Musk right there. Mark Zuckerberg right there. Russell Brunson on stage. You've got Rory Sutherland, another great marketer. You've got Pat Bet-David in his earlier days. Steve Jobs. You've got Stephen Bartlett. And you've got James Smith. I thought I'd give him a mention as well. I think he'd be proud to be part of this group here. But anyway, you've got James Smith as well. Now, what do they have all have in common? Again, presenting. I said that, pronounced it way wrong. Presenting. They're presenters, right? They know how to pitch. They know how to convey a message, how to communicate. Anyone you look up to, anyone you've connected with, think about when you were growing up. Every single person you've watched on TV, you've watched on videos, they can communicate. They have excellent communication skills. And it doesn't mean just because you don't have them right now that you can't learn them. You have to learn them. It's a necessity. We live in what's the word? Attention economy. We are moving. Well, we've already moved into the attention economy. If you can't explain or sell your message, then you're really going to struggle, okay? So you need to learn to become a presenter, and that's the only way you'd be seen as the in-demand authority in your niche. Now, I don't want to go into religion because I've already stepped on politics here, but think of Jesus Christ, right? What did he do? According to the Bible, he went around preaching around the world. Like that's what he was doing. So I don't know what else to tell you. If you don't realize that, and it's not like a aha moment where you're like, yeah, okay, everyone I watch, everyone I consume, they all can present. And that's the only way that you're seen as an authority. Is there anyone, actually flip the question, is there anyone that you actually look up to as an authority that you've never heard speak to an audience or command the room or own the stage? I don't think there is. I don't think there's anyone that comes to mind that hasn't got the ability to do that or does it often. Let's move into the nitty-gritty stuff, because I know that's what you're here for, right? But it's important that you understand that, first of all, because that's what this is all about, right? And it's being able to present yourself in that way. But what business are you in when I ask that question, right? And I've given away a few of the secrets there, but what business are you actually in? Now, a lot of you might say straight away, I'm in fitness, I'm in accounting, I offer sales training, I don't know, whatever it is you do. You probably say the more specific thing that you do. But let me tell you this. I learned this the hard way as well, because I thought I was in fitness as well. Until I realized that, hang on a minute, to make this work, I need a lot more leads. I need a lot more people interested in me. And that's when I realized anyone in the online business space, anyone that advertises online, anyone that gets their leads online, which is a crucial part of when you break down a business, you've literally just got leads, sales, delivery. That's it. Right? When you really summarize it, oversimplify it. Leads, sales, delivery. So you're in the advertising and marketing business, whether you like it or not. Every business is, okay? As much as you may love the delivery part of everything you do, you've still got these two parts regardless. You need that. And if you can't control that, then you're just kind of hoping. And that's not a good place to be as a business owner. You need control. You're in all of these, okay? You're in advertising, marketing, sales, delivery. And the quicker you accept that, the better that you're going to be able to control it, because you're going to start moving forwards to taking control of these things and learning the skills you need. What makes the best leads, right? If we move forward and we think about this, what actually makes the best leads? If I was to say to you, what's the best lead that you speak to on a call? What comes to mind? And I want you to think about this again, because what's the bridge between the two? What turns a cold lead into a warm lead? Because cold leads to me are strangers who don't know you. They don't know what you do. Or if they need your product or service, they have no idea. They have low trust because they don't know you. They don't know what you've done. They don't know who you've helped. They're uneducated. They've got no urgency to work with you at all. Complete strangers, basically. Very cold. People that will walk past you on the street and not know who you are. And then warm leads are the actual opposite. Think of fans. Think of people that will put you on a pedestal, love what you do, seen what you've done, can't believe that they're in the same room as you, can't believe they're speaking to you. They're educated. They know who you are. They're aware. They know that they need your stuff. If they're the ideal client, they know that they need to work with you. They wish they could. They got high trust, educated, and they're ready to buy, right? So what's the bridge? Assuming now that both of these are your target audience, are your ideal client, what's the difference between cold leads and warm leads? And it's very simple when I show it to you. It's education. It's the customer awareness journey, right? If you don't know what this is, I'll try to summarize it quick, but I've literally broke all this down in long YouTube videos. So you go through a few stages of being problem aware, solution aware, product aware, the trust is earned, and then they need to buy. And you need to be taking them through this process. You are in control of this process, okay? So you can do this through paid ads, you can do it through your organic social media. It doesn't matter which sales channel you have. You have to take control and understand that people need to come through this funnel, this journey, this customer awareness journey, and the way to do that is with education. That is something we cover with this as well. So all of this is going to be solved, by the way, with this. I just want to talk about this as well because you're probably thinking, the world has changed a lot in the last 5 years, and this is something that you really need to understand, and it's the C word that changed everything, right? And it's COVID, by the way. $1 million decisions are made from the kitchen tables on Zoom. These presentations are not nice to haves anymore. They are survival skills. So what you're watching right now is not the thing I'm going to tell you to do, by the way. This type of thing is not what I'm telling you to do. But this form of presenting and connecting with someone, and the way you get to know someone through a video like this, is incredibly important for the education, moving people forward to being able to trust you, know what you do, know more about you, and want to work with you. So people are making these massive decisions from home now and from videos like this. They consume enough of you and they can make decisions like this without ever speaking to you. That's the crazy part. Like, think about that. Think about someone spending 25K to work with you. They're doing it and they're making those decisions now without ever speaking to you, which is crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but if you spent enough time with someone, you trust them regardless. And that's what these videos make people feel like. So it's important you understand that, right? Confused prospects do not buy. And the reason I bring this up is because a lot of people really overcomplicate their message. They really overcomplicate what they do, their content, because they try to sound smart. They use big words, right? Think about how you were in primary or in school. When you're trying to sound smart, you use big new words that you've learned to sound smart. But realistically, you're not that person trying to impress people in school anymore, right? You're trying to sell your product. So if people can't understand you, they definitely can't watch you and they can't buy you. They can't buy from you. They don't want to buy you, but they can't buy from you. The difference between these two, again, don't want to get political, but this is a very, very basic idea and understanding of this concept. Do you know what the message was from Hillary Clinton and what the age reading level was for her speech and her speeches and how she explained what she was going to do if she was to become president? Just think of a number. Just think of a number. What do you think it was? It was above 10, right? It was actually around age 12. I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but I know it was around age 12. Now, what do you think Donald Trump's reading age level was around? And it's going to blow your mind. His reading level, his average speeches read at age 3. Reading level, right? So babies could understand what he was telling people to do. She would give a fancy speech of the specific ways she was going to deal with immigration, for example. Make it sound really complex because she's smart, right? And she wants to appeal to smart people, maybe. He was like, build a wall. Now, we all know that his strategies are obviously extremely in-depth. Like, you can just judge that off how I'm not going to get political, but like the things he's done and what he's done in his life, right? He's done pretty well with things. I'm not talking about the political stuff. I'm talking about in business. You know, he's done pretty well with what he's done. So he understands, you know, the complex stuff. But when it came to his speeches, it was like, build a wall, make America great again. That's all he ran with. It was very simple, basic stuff that people understood. And they could just easily make a decision of, yes, I want to do that. I want to agree with that. I'll vote for that. Now, this is how you need to translate this into your content, into the way you speak with people that don't know you. You can teach the complex stuff inside your program because you've won them at that point, right? That's fine. That's when you can really, you know, explain and nerd out and geek out on all your knowledge. But top of funnel, right? Depend on who you're trying to attract, obviously, but you need to make sure it's clear. You need to make sure your messaging is clear and everything you're doing is clear. So that's really, really important, right? That's just a message I wanted to get home. This is when we're going to move forward now to explain a little bit more, because I know there's a lot going on so far and you're probably thinking, whoa, there's a lot to unpack here. But I want you to understand, first of all, what the most successful pitches show, right? Because you need to understand this before we go ahead to applying this to your sales system, which is going to get you the result you actually want. So what do the most successful pitches actually show? So just to paint the picture for what you've actually got in front of you here, is you're at the starting point here, with all your problems, your pains, right, where you don't want to be, where your target audience's starting point is. And this is the beach. This is the dream result. This is where they want to get to, the vacation, sipping a cocktail on a beach, right? All problem solved. And this is the windy road that they need to take to get there. And it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of problems, things going wrong, pains, headaches, sleepless nights, stuff like that. Yeah. Now, the most successful pitches show a clear shortcut and path to success, where you skip that windy road of pains and problems and times and money and wasted time, and you provide them your jet engine, which just speeds them over there to that vacation. Yeah. So instead of taking a long road trip where they have no idea where they're going, no map, no destination, they don't know where they're going to get to or how they're going to end up on this beach, and you provide them, listen, you can do this the hard way, or you can take my jet and come with me and I'll do it for you. And you got nothing to worry about. You can even have a cocktail on the plane if you want to, right? Like that's your offer. So the most successful pitches just basically show a clear path to success, and they provide them then with the option to take that flight with them, right? Very simple. If you're not doing that with your service, the way you're displaying it and being very clear and basic, like we just said, then you're going to make it very difficult for people to say, yeah, I want to jump on board with you. The secrets to actually describe the paths emotionally is going to be all about really showing the old path, that windy road, how painful it's going to be, how scary it's going to be, how much time it's going to cost you, how uncertain it is. So that's the things that you need to really explain with your messaging and how you deliver this. Okay, so it's going to cost you a lot of time, it's going to cost you a lot of money, it's going to be uncertain, you may not even get there, you may waste 5 to 10 years and be stuck in the same position, and that's the reality of trying to figure things out yourself. Or you can invest in yourself to figure this out yourself, to fast track your way there, to take the fast car, to take the jet, to take the helicopter with me, where my offer, your offer, is to fast track you to that destination, and you've got no stress, and you can just enjoy, you can learn along the way, and we'll do it for you. Like, you can either do it for them, you can show them the path so they do it themselves and provide them the tools they need, or you can do it with them, you can coach them, you can handhold them, right? It works for all offers, for services, and that's the way you should be presenting your offer. Now, just a little bit more of a deep dive on this. You need to also explain why the old paths do not work. And the reason this is important, because if people are still contemplating other paths, right? So obviously you're talking about your jet or your fast car. If there are other options as well to take, they may still be contemplating or thinking about that as an option. So you need to explain the other paths and why they don't work, or why they're inferior compared to your offer, okay? So if you fail to sell them on the new path, so your fast path to results, like this is me, on the problem side, where, you know, we're talking about, I don't know, this is me back in the day giving lots of seminars and talks and stuff, and then these are the results people want. They want to be here, they want to be with everyone, the successful academy, they want to be part of it, and it's guaranteed results, or they get their money back, right? Now, the other paths they could take to get there in the fitness space was they download a training plan PDF that's not customized to them, okay? I will say the reason that's not going to work is because it's not customized, there's no accountability, it's not going to work. Then you got your low-cost tracking apps, right? This is an app probably promoted by an influencer, very low cost, so low risk, but the real risk is they're not going to get results. So they're paying for something is not even going to work for them, right? No accountability with that as well. Very limited in terms of how customized it actually is, and you've got no one that actually cares about you to get the results, right? So a big part of success for us was just having to work with an expert one-to-one, where we're able to emotionally understand you as a human, and walk you along that path. So the other thing that's going to tempt them is diet trends and influencer advice. You know, my favorite influencer says to do the keto diet. So I'm going to do that. Like that's what they would say. And we can explain to them in our marketing, we can explain why that does not work, or why that is unsustainable, or you're going to get quick wins because you're going to, drop out all your carbs. You're going to quickly lose a lot of water because glycogen naturally holds 3 grams of water, for example. We can explain that. That's why you get the quick wins, but it's unsustainable because the moment you have it, you come out of the ketogenic process. And yeah, like, you need to explain the other paths that they've got in their mind, and you need to explain why it's inferior, okay? And why trying yourself without an expert accountability. This is another one that we would obviously talk about. It's just, you've tried it before anyway. Ask yourself what's happened over the last 10 years. You've probably been trying and it's not happened. You need that accountability. We've got proven results, guaranteed results. It's literally just basically buying your way there. It's just going to take a bit of effort along the way. So you need to be that person. But you don't teach new things. You're not teaching them new things. You're just simplifying what they already know. So, like I said, the keto process, the training plan PDFs, all those things I talked about there, the apps, they're already aware of those things. I'm not teaching them new things. I'm just simplifying why it doesn't work. And then the same for my way. I'm not going to teach them a new process of doing things right now. I'm just going to simplify what they already know and realize, oh, yeah, that does make sense. That's why it's going to work, okay? If you've learned anything from this so far, it's to stop selling people on your actual service specifics, right? Most of your marketing and education needs to be on the why the new path works, not your specific services, not your packages, not your prices. And I know this is hard because I've already called you out. I've called out the people that have really good services. So it's hard not to talk about great service, right? Because I know you're passionate about service delivery. I know you're passionate about what you do, about the results you actually get for people. But I can promise you that talking about that stuff before they're even sold on that path is not going to work. So let's flip it. Let me talk about keto, right? So let's say I was pro keto and I wanted you to do keto. Now, if I'm talking to you about how to do keto, so let me say I'm trying to just make content to you about, this is how you do keto. This is what you have for meal 1. This is what you have for meal 2. This is what you have for meal 3. Now, this is how I coach people through keto. If I'm talking to you about that, but I'm on the other side of it, I'm just like, well, I don't want to do keto because I don't think keto is the right thing to do. I don't think it works. I think it's unsustainable. I think it's not healthy. Now you can see the conflict there. I need to first be sold on keto in the first place, right? So all your content, and the majority of your content, needs to be on why keto works, why keto is so good, why keto is better than all of the other options out there. That's what your marketing needs to be on. And then once I've bought into that concept and I'm like, yeah, okay, keto is the right thing. You've already talked to me about why carb cycling, all the other things are inferior. I need to do keto now. How do I do it? And then that's when you show me the path. And then that's when you show me your offer on, if you want to sign up to my coaching, I'll coach you to do keto. Or if you don't want that commitment, there's a low ticket PDF that you can download my ebook on how to do keto yourself. That's what your marketing needs to be. But before they're sold on the why, you have to just focus on that with your marketing first, okay? So I hope you're learning something so far, and I hope it's given you a few light bulb moments. But there's a few more gems I want to give you before we dive into the actual specifics of setting up this sales asset and pre-selling system for your business. This is price anchors, and this ties very nicely into the presentation that we do because we always make sure to have these in place. Okay, so having package options is much better than having just one option, and the reason being is because it just switches the mind psychologically from thinking, should I go ahead with this service, yes or no, positive or negative? It shifts it from A to B. So should I choose package A or package B? There's no negative, both are positive. Okay, so it's an assumed close where you basically walk people towards the end of your close and you say, or at the end of your presentation, and you say, do you want to take package A or package B? And then we put a further spin on this with price anchors. So the story I want to tell you about this is a crazy story, right? And it's about Rolls-Royce. So most of you are probably familiar with Rolls-Royce, and the way that they positioned their cars in the last decade has completely transformed their business, and it's taken it up another level again. Even though you thought, these businesses can't grow and get any bigger, they have done that, right? And the reason they did that because of how they positioned and presented their product, which is important. Okay, so what they did was they realized that when you compare a Rolls-Royce to a regular car, it's incredibly expensive, right? Yes, it's in the luxury car market, but it's still incredibly expensive compared to a normal car. So you might compare it to a normal car and think, even people with a lot of money will think, do I need to spend that much money on a car, on a luxury car? I don't. Okay, they flipped it, right? So they started to showcase their cars now instead of in car lots next to other cars that were much cheaper. They presented them next to yachts, next to jets. They showed them at those events where, yes, it has their ideal clients there as well, but now it's price anchored to the yacht. So what looks more expensive, right? The Rolls-Royce that's priced next to the £5 million yacht, or the £10 million jet, or £20 million jet, or the Rolls-Royce that's in the same car park as normal, affordable £2,000 or even £10,000 cars. It's a very different visual impact on you and the way you perceive the product, you perceive the service. So it's the same with our packages. So if you don't already have different packages in place, we show you how to quickly do that, very quick and easy. You don't have to change much about your service at all. You just offer a more premium version, which is usually just means a more hands-off service for them. They get a better experience anyway if they want to pay more, and they get a premium service, and then they've got the option of the main service. So we show you how to do that, but it just leads to you getting a lot more money for a lot less work for some packages, and you also allows you to deliver a much more premium, sophisticated service as well. So it's a win-win for both people involved. And this leads me on very nicely to the next part, which is about the power of an in-demand authority. Okay, now Daniel Priestley, there you can see us sitting down together, and I drank a little bit too much wine that night because it was one of those things where I've never been to a restaurant like this before, right? But they just keep pouring the wine when the glass is still not empty. So I didn't know how much I actually had, and I was just enjoying the conversations, and all of a sudden it was like the end of the night. But we had a great time, and it was at an event, and again, Josh held the event, the accountant I talked about, and he wrote the book, The Key Person of Influence, right? He spotted this. I think he wrote that book like nearly 15 years ago now, which is crazy. And this is exactly where the industry's gone. And let's just compare it to the opposite, right? So if you've read the book as well, Blue Ocean Strategy, me and you would probably get on very well if you have. But Blue Ocean Strategy talks about blue oceans, red oceans. To simplify it, red oceans is just very competitive, lots of oversaturated market with lots of people in there competing, and it's very price sensitive. And then blue oceans is where you just display yourself as something different. You just pivot on a category slightly in an already existed industry, and you create a blue ocean for yourself where nothing can compete with you. Okay. Now, I know that's on the left side because it's an example of what this is like, the red ocean. The red ocean for the average Joe competes on price, no authority, and they struggle to show value because everyone is so price focused, because they compare their commodities is something that you don't stand out. You don't have a USP. So price becomes the ultimate determining factor for whether someone works with you or not. Whereas the key person of influence, they are not competing on price. They are the authority, and they are purely value focused. They are not focused on price at all, because people want results and they know you will get them results, and they want to work with you because you are the in-demand authority in your niche. So that is what this is all about, okay? You need to present yourself as the in-demand authority. Think of everyone you've ever looked up to. You need to become that person for your service, right? And it doesn't mean, it might be a daunting task right now thinking, I need to be the best accountant in the world. I need to be the best coach in the world. No, but you need to be hyper specific on your niche, and you need to be the best for that person. Yes, you need to present yourself as the best, because why else would you be doing it? If you don't believe in yourself to get results, which you've already got, by the way, then why else would someone choose you? So you need to believe in yourself, and you need to show that to the world in the way that you market yourself. Now, one more thing I want to just hit home as well, and why I call this a sales system, is because everything that works at scale has got really detailed systems behind it, powering it, right? Just think, why can idiots work in McDonald's, right? And I laugh when I say this, because my mother worked at McDonald's, my partner Beth worked at McDonald's, and she always talks to me and explains to me about the insane systems there. And she believes she could do every part of this job, by the way. So when you see this, if you've seen The Founder, hell of a film, great film. Again, if you watch this and you've enjoyed it, you're probably my people. We'd probably get on. But really, really good film. And it really, this moment here, even though this was not what scaled McDonald's, right? This is what made it possible in the first place, was the systems that these guys obsessed over. The founders of McDonald's was building the kitchen like a factory, right? Where it was one person responsible for the buns, one person responsible for the meat, cooking the meat, one person responsible for dressing it up, one person responsible for the sauces, one person responsible for the fries. And it was a factory inside a restaurant. First time this has ever happened in fast food, and they're still the fastest at food. They're the fastest food out there, I believe. But it's why idiots can work there as well. So when it comes to recruitment, if any of you are in business like you are, and you hired people before, you realize how tough it can be to get someone to do a job to your standard, right? And then you learn the whole thing of management, SOPs, and all that stuff. It makes you appreciate when you look at McDonald's. And I learned the other day that like most locations have 160 to 200 staff, which is crazy. And they're all people that are not very bright, right? Most of them are not very bright. And I say idiots because it's funny, unless they're very young and maybe they're just taking it as a part-time job. But most people, it's the traditional working at McDonald's, not much brain cells, but they're able to do the job, and it is running this multi-billion-dollar company, okay? And why? Because systems, right? So you need systems for your business, and this is why I'm saying this sales asset is a system for sales to eventually remove or reduce your time on calls, and it increases your close rate, and it reduces the time on calls. So like it's a system, and it's worked in my business, worked in other businesses we've placed them in, and it's been really good. So I want to teach it to you without me rambling on too much. I really believe that anything that is repeated can be automated, and that's one thing that I always repeat to everyone I work with. Anything you repeat, anything in your business you repeat, anything you say and you repeat, it can be automated in these days, this age, with AI booming all around us. Anything that is repeated can be automated. And this is what I realized with my business, because when I was doing sales calls and I was really getting booked up with sales, I just analyzed my sales calls and I thought, what part of this can be automated? And you'll see it yourself straight away now. So you've got 3 parts to a sales call. You've got the discovery process, which is where you're asking questions, you're having a great, authentic conversation with that person, and it feels great, right? It's going back and forth, you're getting on well, you're answering the questions, you're feeling like this is a great fit. Then comes the question, right, how does this work then? Because you've got no system in place, right? They're not educated. And that's when the pitch happens. So this is when you may or may not pull up a presentation already, or you might just verbally just explain to them your service. And this takes, to do it well, 10 to 15 minutes, right? Maybe more, maybe 20 minutes, right? In worst case scenario, I've seen people do this for like 30 to 45 minutes just on the pitch. Just basically explaining what you do, why it works, why they should trust you, what packages you got, what are the prices, all that stuff, the terms and conditions, all of this stuff which should be handled and automated. And I realized that for myself. The pitch was automated. If I had 6 calls back to back, I was repeating that same 10 to 15 minutes, 20 minutes every single call. And then the close at the end, which is natural as part of a sales call. Yeah. So I realized I could remove the pitch, and instead of doing it 6 times a day, every day, why don't I just make it the best pitch ever and place it before the call? Okay, which is what I went on to do. And that is what we call the Welcome Pack VSL. That is the sales asset, the sales system that transformed my business. And it has for others as well now. So this is something that you need to learn, because we don't get into business for small payoffs, right? We take the biggest risk ever as an entrepreneur, and the risk reward ratio is something we feel, but we don't let it change our actions. So if you look at entrepreneurs, right, what do? We take the highest risk starting a business, but we understand the reward will be worth it if we make it work, right? Because most people don't. The facts are that over 90% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. So we feel the fear of investments, but we understand the long-term payoff requires sacrifice. And we still feel those fears like everyone else because we're human, but we don't let it impact our decision-making because we're more logical. Most people, they do the opposite. They opt for much lower risk, and that's why they're not successful. They go for careers and jobs that give them safety, but at what cost? The real cost for me would be never knowing what you could have achieved, and just not achieving things you're really, really proud of. They value money more than time because their vision is only short term, definitely. So that's a typo. And the reason they value money more than time is because every penny to them is like the last penny on earth. They've got this scarcity mindset that they can't make more because they're stuck in a job. Their salary is controlled. If they work more, they will not earn more. So it's not like it is for us as entrepreneurs where we know we can make money. So we value time a lot more because the more time we have to do the things that makes us the most money, is going to make us more money. So that's what it's all about for us. And they allow fear and emotions to change the decisions making, no longer using logic to make decisions. They're very emotional with their decision making, right? So what camp do you relate to the most? And I know which one you probably sit in, but ask yourself really, like what camp am I actually in? Because if not, maybe I need to change the way I do think. If I sometimes have tendencies of being like most people, which unfortunately do not become successful. So you don't want to be in that camp. Okay, so this is the specifics now of what you came here for. And the reason why I've spent so much time before we've just dived straight into it is because you need to know why this works. Everything I've preached, everything I've talked about, I said earlier on, you need to really understand why it works before you know how it works. Because if you know the how before the why, you're not going to act on it because you're not going to be truly believing in that process and why it works. So this is how you can actually solve this, exactly how to solve it, right? I want to teach you how to build a sales system for your business so your business can thrive without you. Removing you is the key constraint and make your business more valuable. So this is you right now, the before. Think of a transformation. This is the before, where you are directly involved in the processes of your business, right? Especially sales. You're involved in sales. You take the call, you close the deal, you inform other people, you take the money, and then they move on to delivery, right? You may even be doing delivery yourself as well. After you remove yourself to become the true CEO, whether it's reducing a lot of your time from sales so you've got more time back as the CEO to grow the business, or removing yourself entirely so that the sales process is completely systemized. And now without you as a key man risk, your business valuation goes up a lot more instantly. So this is one key fix that will make you a lot more money, but both in terms of profit, with more sales coming through and a higher close rate, but also with more time on your table and removing yourself as a key man, which is going to increase the valuation of your company. So that is very important, okay? Now, just to highlight who this is relevant for, this is directly for people that are a service business founder stuck on endless sales calls and you're looking to scale your business without pitching, right? Doing what I said earlier by removing the pitch, the Welcome Pack VSL converts every book call into a pre-sold lead. So you will discover right now how the Welcome Pack VSL turns cold leads into ready to buy calls. You will close more deals in half the time, and you will know how to build yours and never waste another call explaining your service. And by the end of this short video, you'll know exactly how to stop repeating your pitch and start scaling without spending your life on calls. Okay? You're probably doing right now more than ever, but still stuck selling your own service, right? You built the business to lead it. Just like I said earlier, you built the business because we were eventually chasing the long-term goal of financial freedom, location freedom, being able to do what I want to do, and have a business that's valuable. But if you're still stuck as self-employed in your own business, you're not a business owner. You are self-employed. And I know that's hard to hear, but the moment I accepted that was the moment I could fix it. So calls probably start great right now until the energy changes the moment you start pitching. You're booking calls, but most leads aren't ready to buy yet. You close some deals, but only after long, repetitive calls that drain your energy, right? You keep wondering what's wrong, your content, your offer, or worse, if you'll be stuck in this sales forever, which is not what you want to do. And I know because I've been there. You've probably done everything to make sales easier, but it still feels like a grind. And you've probably told yourself a few of these things. Maybe I just need better leads, more qualified leads. Maybe I just need a sales rep who can close better than I can. Maybe my content just isn't explaining what I do clearly enough. But what if none of these are actually the problem? What if hiring sales reps right now actually makes it worse and tanks your close rate? And I can give you a story with Josh as well. When this happened, we hired closers and his close rate tanked. So he jumped back into sales, which is not what he wanted to do because there was no system in place to remove him, first of all, which is what we went then on to build, and which is why I know this is so powerful and why it works, okay? So the real problem isn't your leads or your sales skills. You need to know what the real problem is. Those are just symptoms of the problem, right? The real problem is that every prospect walks into the call unclear on what you do or why it's different. Some are warm, some are cold. You spend 10 to 20 minutes every single time explaining your service, pitching live instead of spending that time asking questions. They're still comparing you to others in that red ocean because they don't fully understand your value. And by the time they finally get it, you're out of time and the close feels forced or salesy, which is everything you probably swore never to become. And I know I never wanted to become that salesy, sleazy car salesman that's following all these objection handling gurus online, right? It's not where you want to be. So you don't need better leads. You need prospects who are already sold before they ever book a call. And this is how you do it. Just to be clear, this is exactly what we talked about earlier, right? These are the other options you've got right now. These are the other options. So I'm showing you other paths that you've got to take. You've probably thought about them, right? Everything I'm telling you, we do ourselves. You've probably seen these solutions before. They sound logical at first, but they're the reason most founders stay stuck, right? The problems on the left is where you are right now. Stuck in sales, long calls, low close rates, objections. The results you want: time freedom, short calls, higher close rate, less objections, a system that runs without you, a valuable business, right? Everything you want is on the other side of this. And you're probably thinking, right, these are the ways I could get there. Do I hire closers, but my close rate drops further without a system? Do I take more sales calls because I need more money? I need to hit revenue targets, but I burn more time and I'm not solving the problem. The other option: repeat your pitch daily, drain your energy, keep doing what you're doing basically. And how is that working out for you, right? You just keep doing what you're doing, but you're still stuck in sales. You're never going to get out because there's no system. Or you become the sleazy salesperson you swore you'd never become. You learn objection handling. You become a pushy salesman to close more deals, which is not what you want to do, right? Ruins your reputation. You definitely don't present yourself as the in-demand authority that you say you are, and it goes against everything. It's not on brand, and it doesn't lead to a good relationship with that client along the line as well. So not great for LTV, long lifetime value of that client. So these solutions, they don't solve the root problem. So what is the solution? This is the solution. This is the first step anyway, right? So even if you want to build a massive sales team for your service later on down the line, you obviously need to hire closers at that point. But I know from doing this in other businesses as well, without this system in place, it's going to make their close rate tank or not be as high as it could be. The show up rate won't be as high as it could be. So the fix is simple. You pre-sell every lead before the call. And this isn't something that I invented, right? So I'm not trying to be or sound like this innovative guy. I haven't seen many people do it, but I've seen the real top dogs do it. The expert marketers, they all do this, and you may not realize it. So they position themselves obviously as the in-demand authority, which is what you need to position yourself as. Use one professional presentation that pre-sells every lead before the call, and build a system that scales your sales process without scaling your time. So no more explaining your offer or service live. Every lead shows up warm, informed, and ready to buy, and your sales calls become shorter, easier, focused on fit, and not objection endless objection handling, the stuff that you really swore never to become, right? As cool as it looks sometimes when these gurus post it online and overcoming an objection, it's not the way to rely on selling every person into your service. They should be pre-sold, so they join the call and they're like, I need this. I need to work with you. I know how it works. Let's just go. Like that's what calls can become, right? And that's the power of the Welcome Pack VSL. A short, done-for-you video that pre-sells your service while you focus on actually growing the business. Now, here's everything included in your Welcome Pack VSL. It's a complete done-for-you system that pre-sells every prospect before they get on the call. A professionally written and structured VSL script tailored to your offer, audience, and sales process. A custom-designed visual slide deck to match your brand and drive conversions, and the full video walkthrough recorded, edited, and optimized to pre-sell every lead. And I want to explain how this works as well, so you know what you can do for yourself. So you'll have everything you need to turn cold traffic into ready to buy calls, all built and delivered in 28 days, so you can reduce or remove your time from calls and actually focus on growing the business. And this is how we actually do it, right? Because I know it sounds like a lot of work, but this is how we do it. So we build it and launch it within 28 days. We handle the entire process for you from start to finish, simple, fast, and done for you. So week 1 is all about that first call, the strategy, the script. We deep dive into your offer, your target audience, your sales process, and craft the perfect VSL script. Then we design and build. So we create a custom visual deck aligning perfectly with your brand and message. And then we record, edit, launch. We handle production, editing, and optimization, delivering your final Welcome Pack VSL ready to deploy. And right now, like this part of the call, you're experiencing the finished product right now. Ask yourself how you feel after watching this video compared to before. That's the exact transformation you deliver to every one of your prospects before a single word is spoken on the call. So imagine how powerful this is, right? Before you get on a call, this is the transformation in the mind that every one of your prospect goes through. They become educated and they become a warm lead before they actually speak to you. So it saves you a lot of effort on the call. And if you ever wanted to work with us, right, getting started is really simple. Once you're onboarded, our team handles everything. Your only job is to review and relax. You'll complete a short onboarding form, book your strategy call. This gives us everything we need to tailor your Welcome Pack VSL, and our team gets to work scripting, designing, and editing your Welcome Pack VSL from start to finish, and you'll receive your finished sales asset within 28 days, ready to send to every book call immediately, or we can automate it completely in your CRM. You don't need to learn, manage, or lift a finger. We handle it all, and you can focus on doing what actually works, which is growing your business, which is important. Okay, so you're probably wondering now, I understand why this is powerful. I understand why it works. I understand where it works, what I need to do. But how do I do it? You want to know how to do it. Like I said, there is something we can do where we do it for you, as we've just kind of touched on a little bit, and we can build it all for you. I will talk about that. But for those of you that have joined this because you wanted it free and you wanted the free training, I'm going to deliver on that as well. I said I would show you how to do it. Unfortunately, I can't cover it all in this video, but I'm going to give it to you for free anyway at the end of this video. So I will give you a link where you can watch it and you can have all the resources you need to build this slide by slide yourself. So don't panic. Just listen, I'll send it to you at the end of this video, okay? So the reason this works though, and I know it works, not just from myself, but from other people as well, is on the right-hand side, you can see in our gym, when we scaled it to over 500 active members, what we did was, I had a team of receptionists, right? We had 5 on desk. And they're not salespeople, they're receptionists at the end of the day. So what was the harder task? Do I train them to become sales reps, salespeople, objection handling, giving this salesy experience as the first experience to people that walk in through the door? No, I realized what worked in our online business and I applied the same thing here. So we had paid ads running traffic to a gym tour. They'd book in, basically a sales call, the gym tour. When they booked that, they were then sent the Welcome Pack VSL. And what this did was it pre-sold them on the packages, what the gym's like, giving them a virtual tour, answering all the questions someone could have. So they either signed up online immediately, or then when they came to the gym, they spoke to the receptionist, they gave them a nice authentic conversation, the discovery part of the call, and then they sold, right? Much higher close rate compared to before, and I didn't need to train them to become someone they were not. The same thing with our coaching business, right? We applied it to Beth's coaching business as well. Same thing happened. Show up rates go up, close rate goes up, 25 minutes on a call average time compared to 45 minutes before. With my business, I told you what happened. I was able to take one night, which is extreme. We reduced my calls down to 20 minutes maximum, because during that month we were on track for our biggest month ever. We were just about to do over 40k for the first time, and we had a team of coaches, 5 coaches, and I had a setter who had newly joined, so my calendar was being booked up more than I could possibly ever imagine. And I only had the opportunity to speak to these people on a Thursday night that week, so we booked it up massively. We done 20-minute maximum slots, and I closed 12 out of 15. So we had 5 hours back to back in 15 calls, 5 hours back to back, 12 out of the 15 closed, right? And that was in 20-minute conversations. Why? Not because I'm a sales wizard, because I'm not. But they all watched this video beforehand, and that means they were pre-sold, and it was all about a quick conversation on the phone, being able to speak to them quickly, and they were like, yeah, sound done, want to go ahead with it. 12 out of 15, which is really good. So that's the impact it can have. Josh, I gave you the example with the accountancy, good friend, and when I worked with him on this, we brought in closers. Close rate dropped to 18% without him there. He was fuming, naturally, understandably so, because his close rate was so high before that. He's the face of the business. So it's like, Josh, we need you to do this welcome back VSL. I begged him for ages, right? I begged him for ages to do it. And eventually we done it. And once we done it, we implemented it. And it jumped up straight away. Close rate went to 40% because they'd watched a video of him pitching the service. They trusted him. He's the guy they wanted to work with. So when they spoke to the guy then, which was a closer, he was able to easily close them in much shorter time, much shorter calls. Show up rate was higher as well. So it's a win-win. It's a proven system that works in businesses, for service businesses regardless, because it is just removing the pitch from the live sales call, making it automated, making it more professional, making it a much better customer experience, and making the sales call way less salesy. So that's why it works, okay? And how does it actually fit into your business? This is where it fits. So every prospect watches your Welcome Pack VSL as soon as they book a call. So they show up warm, qualified, and ready to buy. The Welcome Pack VSL is sent out automatically after a call is booked, or manually if you prefer a personal touch. Leads convert from cold to warm, from who are you and what do you do, to this is exactly what I need to work with you. Now, just to look at this funnel to explain a little bit more, you get cold leads that come through here. The landing pages, they opt in either through application forms, lead magnets, through cold ads, or through DMs, right? Whichever way you get traffic, you convert them, and eventually they book a call. When they book a call, that's where you slot in the Welcome Pack VSL. This is basically an injection of trust, of proof, where you nurture them much further before they get on that call. Otherwise, they could be getting on you cold, straight from paid ads. They could be getting on you cold from application forms where they don't know who you are, what you do. This is just one big injection of trust, of proof, and explaining what your service is. So no more explaining your service live on a call. They already understand your offer before you speak. Calls shift from pitching to problem solving, and your role becomes an advisor, not a salesperson. So imagine opening your calendar every single week, knowing every prospect already trusts your process, understands your offer, and wants to work with you. And that's what the Welcome Pack VSL actually does. It makes it possible. This is the decision you've got to make now. Because every week you wait, you lose time you'll never get back, and this is the opportunity cost of business, right? It's easy to push things back to next month or next quarter, but every week spent repeating your pitch and draining your energy is time that could be used to actually grow your business. And this is the reality. Because if your average call is 45 minutes and you spend 10 calls a week, that's a full day of work on, right? And we all know, right, those of us that do sales, how much time either side of that call as well is draining, is hard, is waiting, is writing notes afterwards, is dealing with it. It's like, it's a full-time job. That's why the sales roles are so well paid and expensive. But if you can't hire closers yet, or you need a system before you hire them so the close rate doesn't go through the flow, this is a system you need. So you either need to do it now, you're probably going to need to do it at some point anyway. So the more you wait, you're just wasting your own time that you could be spent actually growing your business. So imagine cutting that time in half, gaining back nearly a full work week weekly to focus on leadership, marketing, or delivery. And the longer you wait, the more calls you repeat, the more energy you'll drain and burn, and the further you'll delay removing yourself from sales. This is just one step closer to removing yourself from sales and finally building a real scalable business. You're not just buying a sales asset, you're buying back your time, building a system, and solving the sales constraint for good. Now, just a reminder of who this Welcome Pack VSL, this sales asset, actually is for. and isn't for as well, because it's important, because it isn't for everyone. And if your business doesn't fit this model, it won't work. This only works if you're a service business founder stuck spending hours every week on repetitive sales calls. You already get calls booked, but they hit or miss. Some are warm, some are cold, and most are unqualified. You want to increase your close rate, shorten your calls, and eventually remove yourself from sales process entirely. This does not work, right? This is important. It does not work if you're still figuring out your offer or you haven't proven your service works yet. I want to make it clear, the reason I started this in the first place was because I wanted the good people that actually provide results, that actually promise and deliver. I wanted them to stand out, because they may not be as good at marketers as the scammers, as the scam artists, but this is a way to fight back. This is a way to give them an asset that injects the proof, covers all the aspects of the customer journey and the customer awareness journey, so that people are pre-sold. And you don't need to become this salesy, sleazy person. You don't need to learn marketing or get a degree in marketing. You just need to have this asset, and you need to apply it to your business, and it just transforms it. So this is for people that want to stand out, that actually have good results. If you don't have good results, this is not for you. I don't want you to use this because it's powerful, and I don't want you to get ahead even further by scamming people with bloody marketing and sales tactics and over promising and under delivering, right? So don't use this if that's you. If you're a scammer, don't use this. If you're looking for like a magic funnel instead of a trust-driven sales system, this is not for you, and you're not ready to delegate or systemize parts of your business, and you want to be in that sales process forever, this is definitely not for you. So yeah, if you're already generating leads and you want to turn every book call into a pre-sold conversation, this is exactly for you. One more question. I know we've touched on this at the very start. Should you trust me? Now, the 2 businesses I've built, the facts are out there. It's on the internet. You can go and check that out. The reviews are there. And more importantly, because obviously they were for different services, I understand that question. You can look at what people say about the service, right? About the customer care, about how we handle and work with you, the processes, the team. Like, that's what I would encourage you do go and read. But one thing I can say is I wouldn't be involved with working with these people as well, these highly respected CEOs and stuff, if they didn't trust me, right? And we did deliver. And again, the reason I do this, to be totally transparent, is because I've built a business in fitness, both online and in person. And yes, it's great to talk about fitness all day long, but this is my passion behind the scenes, growing the team. My day-to-day, my work has always been managing, has always been marketing and sales. That's what I've been done. I've done over 1,000 sales calls in the last 24 months. And we closed at an 89% on the PB Academy side of things, right? Which is insanely high, and I'm not bragging about it because I don't think having a close rate that high is good. It's just an indication you should increase your prices. But because we needed the clients to come on anyway for the coaches, that's what we stayed with, right? We kept the prices at that point, which was around £200 a month. One thing I would say is this is my chance, like I said, to be transparent, to connect with people, to work on much bigger projects like I was with Josh. And that's what I enjoy. I enjoy having those times to apply something, my knowledge, my experience, where I can work with you and I know the impact it can have on your business. I know the step it can lead you towards. So that's what I want to do. And I want to connect with a few more people. So this isn't a business I'm looking to scale or an offer I'm looking to scale. This is something I'm doing as a passion project that you can tell I love talking about. So I rely on word of mouth of this. And that only comes from working with people like you to get results and have a great experience. So that would be my promise to you. On the strategy call, if you do decide to book, if you want to work with me specifically, this is what you can prepare for. The first thing I like to do, like I said, I'm a big fan of like authentic conversations on these calls. I want to talk about the long-term personal plan you have for your business, the vision you've got for the business, the model, I want to talk about pricing, the product breakdown, the service breakdown. I need to understand all that for the Welcome Pack BSL if we're going to build it anyway. But another thing we really jump on is the theory of constraints. So if you're a big fan of Alex Hormozi, one thing he always talks about is the theory of constraints, and that is basically focusing on your biggest weak point. And if that is to be, the close rate and actually you being stuck in the business, which is not great for you and moving forward, if that is the constraint and us removing you from that will amplify your business and then make you more money, then yes, we will go ahead. But if not, then I'll happily say like this maybe isn't the biggest thing you need to focus on right now. And then if we do agree, then obviously we can talk about the target audience, the offer, to make sure that's bang on. Because if it's not, trying to build a welcome pack VSL for something that's not nailed in terms of the target audience and offer is like trying to throw a product at someone that they don't really want it, if that makes sense. So you need to make sure that's right first, so that we can actually build it and it works. So that's what we talk about on the call. I've looked at guarantees, right, a long time, because obviously with a fitness business, we have a money back guarantee where we say, if you don't get results in 12 weeks, then we give you your money back. No problem. No questions asked, because I think that works with like consumers when it's B2C. With B2B, I think we're a lot more logical with our decision making. So your money is probably worth less to you than your time. So you don't want to waste time. You don't want to waste time on an asset like this if it's not going to work. So what I've put in place for this is a performance guarantee, where I will say to you, if you don't reduce or remove your time on calls and increase your close rate within 28 days of actually deploying this product, once it's done, we'll keep refining and I'll keep working with you until you do. Our system is proven, and that's why we take the risk off you and put it on us. And if you don't see a measurable reduction in call time or an increase in close rate within 28 days, we'll continue refining your welcome pack VSL at no extra cost until you do. And we stand behind the work completely because we've seen it deliver again and again. So you're not the one gambling on results. We are. We take that risk off you. Your only risk is the opportunity cost of waiting, which is the reality. Okay. So the reason I say that is because I know you'd rather the result in the first place instead of just the money back. But of course, long term, if you really aren't happy with everything, I'd rather give you your money back anyway. So I've got no problem with that. But I just want to make sure it works because I know it can work. So that's what we will do, is a performance guarantee. We make sure it works. If you're okay with this, I will talk about it a little bit, which is the packages we've actually got. So if you are interested in the done for you package or the done with you package where you want this done for you, let me first actually give my promise and hold up my promise, which was to those of you that want something for free, I will put a link below where you can get access to the Welcome Pack VSL framework and the AI ChatGPT prompt to build it out with you. So it will give you what you need on every slide. It will help you refine your target audience and your offer. I will deliver on that promise and give that to you. I'll put a link below that will allow you to message me, and then you can basically get access so that you can, I'll send it to you personally. Definitely. So yeah, if that sounds good, I'll send that over to you, no problem. If you want something to be built out for you where, like I said, I've built this out for multiple people, not just myself, multiple times, like loads of times for the different service offerings we've got, but also for other people as well, where I really understand what needs to be included in it, then I will happily work with you and we can jump on a call and talk about what package suits you best, right? If you want something that's completely premium and done for you, very similar to before. I talked about pricing anchors and everything on this webinar. This is how we do it, right? If you do want the ultimate package, the best experience where everything is hands off and done for you, then we have the premium package available, okay? But I want to be clear first, both packages will get the job done. Okay, we've built two options depending on how hands off or how hands on you want to be, or you want us to be, right? Both include everything you need to reduce or remove your time from calls. The only difference is how you value your time and how much of it you want back to focus on growth immediately. It simply depends on how much you want us to do for you. Either way, you're going to walk away with a proven system that pre-sells every prospect before the call. So the premium package, everything done for you for founders who want the entire Welcome Pack VSL built, scripted, produced, and ready to launch without lifting a finger. Okay, you get the full strategy call to understand your business, your offer, and your sales process. A complete slide deck built and designed for maximum conversion, professionally written line by line speech, script with expert copywriting, full video editing and production handled by our team, implementation plan to automate and link your Welcome Pack VSL, and a 28-day guarantee turnaround and full performance guarantee, like I said. If you want the fastest routes to results, a complete done-for-you sales asset that pre-sells every prospect before the call, this package is for you. And I would highly recommend it for those of you that much more value your time rather than you do your money, right? Because this is going to get you the best results. We'll do everything for you. The difference with the foundation package is the same result, but you need to handle the filming, the presenting, your speech, and actually writing the speech part of the pitch as well. So there is a lot of work that we do that goes into that on the premium package, but the filming, editing, everything like that you need to do yourself for this. We basically handle the strategy call, the roadmap, the offer, the sales process, and we also do the slide deck and the welcome pack as well. This still gets you results, but like I said, it's not the filming, the editing, or the script for the speech. So that's the difference. I hope this helps. I hope you've actually genuinely learned a lot through this webinar. It's a lot of effort I've put into the slides, to the free training, to make sure you've learned a lot, especially at the start. So I hope you got value from it. And if you've got any questions, that link below is going to be for WhatsApp. Like, I've asked people to send me a message if they want that free welcome pack VSL anyway, the framework. If you want to ask a question or if you want anything, then it's a way to connect with me as well. So yeah, if you've made it this far, fair play to you. But hopefully I will see you soon. We've got a channel as well that's all about scaling and growing a service business. So feel free to message my number. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.